Hello and welcome back to my Ultra Sun 100 battle video series. Today we've got another Sun series battle, and this one is pretty interesting. It's against Nico, who is using Tornadus, Kyogre, Incineroar, and Tapu Koko. So Tornadus is a really interesting Pokemon. It's one I experimented with quite a lot in Ultra series. Being able to set Prankster Tailwind is really cool, especially when you have slower Pokemon like Kyogre on your team. It just basically becomes a monstrous threat, and it also doesn't require you to run Choice Scarf either, because you're getting your speed control a bit of a different way, which is really interesting. And then Incineroar and Tapu Koko are just two more meta picks that can support Kyogre very well, as I'm using the Kyurem Groudon team that I've been using previously. And Incineroar Cortana, I know I bring this core to games a lot, like I know you haven't seen a lot of my Tapu Lele or my Venusaur, but I don't know, I found this core to be quite strong. And let's get into this battle. So we're challenged by Nico, and my leads are going to be Kyurem and Incineroar. Again, I know I lead this a lot, but it's honestly pretty strong, getting fake out pressure and the offensive pressure that comes with Kyurem. My opponent is going to lead Tornadus and Kyogre, as we saw in Team Preview. And seeing how my Turbo Blaze on my Kyurem goes first, I'm assuming that the Kyogre is not running Choice Scarf, and that makes sense, obviously, because like before, the Prankster Tailwind from the Tornadus offers plenty of speed control already. My Incineroar's Intimidate is going to go off here, not mattering too much, but my opponent is going to withdraw Kyogre, definitely not wanting to take a Fake Out. It also leads me to believe that, maybe it doesn't have Protect either. No way to really stop my Fake Out, so they're going to switch into their own Incineroar, getting an Intimidate, and setting their own Fake Out pressure. I'm going to go for a Fake Out into the Incineroar slot, which unfortunately is not really going to do anything, and my opponent is going to feel free to set up a Tailwind with their Tornadus. And now with my Kyurem, I'm going to go for an Earth Power, actually going into the Incineroar slot, which does a ton of damage, but even with Life Orb, it's unable to KO Incineroar just because of how bulky it is. And it's going to end up being the 50% Berry, Pinch Berry Incineroar. It's going to recover 50% of its HP, which is really bad for me, so overall, that turn 1 was better for my opponent than it was for me. They pretty much got Tailwind up with no consequence. My Kyurem's going to protect here, not wanting to eat a Fake Out, as that is what my opponent does. And I actually go for Hurricane into my Kyurem as well, so definitely a very well-called Protect on my behalf. And my Incineroar is going to U-turn into the Tornadus, breaking its Sash if it has it. And my Incineroar is going to go back to me, and I am going to reveal my Kartana, actually. So in comes Kartana. But here I actually just pull a double switch, pivoting from my Kartana into my Groudon, probably wanting to bait out the Hurricane and then making it only 50% accurate, getting my Groudon in pretty safely and protecting my Kyurem as well. So Tornadus is going to go for the Hurricane, but Kyurem is going to avoid it, thankfully. And Incineroar is going to go for Flare Blitz, outspeeding my Kyurem thanks to the Tailwind, and going into the Groudon, which does a ton of damage, just right around half in the sun. And Kyurem is going to feel free to go for an Ice Beam and pick up the KO on Tornadus, which is really good for me, as there's no more Hurricanes, no more Tailwind going up. Gonna take a bit of Life Orb chip, but now my opponent is pretty much unquestionably going to pull into the Kyogre switch here, wanting to set Drizzle back up and really hugely just threatening out my Groudon. So Drizzle's going to go up here, and I am going to protect my Groudon, obviously not wanting to eat a Water Spout, and Kyogre is going to go for the Water Spout, going into Groudon's Protect, and I know it's in the rain and stuff, but it does so much damage to my Kyurem. It definitely looks like it specs Kyogre here, so Incineroar is going to U-turn, going into the Groudon's Protect, and fortunately my Kyurem is going to get an Earth Power off, which is going to take out the Incineroar, so no more Intimidate or Fake Out pressure for my opponent. But Kyogre is still a huge threat here. So their Tailwind is going to peter out, which is really good for me, as Tapu Koko is going to come in from my opponent's side, which actually sucks, because Tapu Koko unquestionably outspeeds everything else on the field and can easily just pick up the KO on my Kyurem. So I'm going to switch out Groudon here, going to sack off Incineroar, wanting to set the sun back up with my Groudon, and get my Kartana in safely as well, as I pretty much unquestionably outspeed the Kyogre. So Intimidate's going to go off, doesn't matter too much, and Tapu Koko is actually going to reveal Electro Web, which is another really cool method of speed control. Going to drop my Incineroar's speed and take out my Kyurem. Handy spread move to have as well, and Water Spout is going to come out from the Kyogre, just without a shadow of a doubt, just going to obliterate my Incineroar. So Incineroar is going to go down, and I'm going to go into my last two Pokemon here, which are my Groudon and my Kartana. So Sun's going to come back up, which is really nice. Kyogre won't be doing as much damage, but I don't know. Specs Water Spout is still going to easily be enough to take out my Groudon. But even so, Tapu Koko actually just goes for Skydrop into my Groudon, which Groudon's too heavy to be lifted, so nothing's going to happen there. And a Leaf Blade is going to just take out the Kyogre. It must have been Specs, like, unquestionably, because it didn't protect or anything, so gonna get a Beast Boost, and Precipice Blades is easily gonna just OHKO the Tapu Koko, which seals the game for me. So that last turn was really interesting. I don't think there's much my opponent could have done since their Kyogre like didn't have Protect or anything. Like Protect plus Electro Web would have been kind of handy for them to Water Spout next turn and just pick up the KO on both my Pokemon. Yeah, I don't really know why my opponent went for Skydrop there. They could have Skydropped the Kartana, maybe they misclicked, I'm not really sure there, but overall it wasn't the closest game in the world, but it was still really enjoyable for me. I know I had like a pretty bad matchup against Tornadus, like a lot of battles I just was up against Kyogre Tornadus, and it was pretty impossible to stop, because like I would try to fake out the Tornadus a lot, but it would Protect and everything like that. I don't know, it was just hard to read when I was starting out in VGC, and it is a core that I experimented with later in Ultra Series, which you will see in some battles coming up here. But anyway, that's going to be it for this battle. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.